Clarkson show was supposed to be a light-hearted, fun-filled episode when Jenna Hager was invited as a guest. Kelly had welcomed Jenna with her trademark warmth, introducing her as one of America's favorite morning personalities. But even in the opening banter, there was a strange tension between them. Jenna tried to steer the conversation toward Kelly's personal life rather than her music. Pressing on recent headlines about her relationships and family, Kelly, smiling politely, attempted to redirect the chat back to her upcoming tours and new songs, but Jenna persisted, jokingly calling her evasive. The audience laughed nervously, unsure if Jenna's digs were playful or just inappropriate. Kelly's smile faltered, and it became clear to everyone that this wasn't going to be the easygoing interview they expected. As the segment went on, Jenna began asking sharper questions, particularly about Kelly's divorce, saying things like, "Do you think you've been open with the world about your private struggles?" Kelly froze for a moment, then responded with measured firmness, "I've shared my story on my own terms, Jenna. That's different from being cornered on someone else's show." The studio gasped, and the tension was suddenly undeniable. Kelly's tone, though calm, carried a weight that warned Jenna she had crossed a line. But instead of backing off, Jenna chuckled awkwardly and doubled down, saying, "Well, we ask the tough questions on today, you know?" Kelly's eyes flashed, and the crowd shifted in their seats. Realizing this was about to escalate, Kelly leaned forward and, for the first time, dropped her warm host persona. "This isn't today. This is my show," she said firmly, her voice echoing across the stage. "Here, we celebrate people. We don't drag them." Jenna's smile tightened, clearly stung by the remark, and she muttered into her mic, "Well, maybe that's why people say this show isn't tough enough." The jab landed hard. Kelly's jaw clenched, and the entire room seemed to go silent. Even the band members in the corner looked stunned. Kelly took a long breath before responding, her voice steady but sharp. "No, Jenna, that's why people trust me. There's a difference." The producers quickly cut to a commercial break, but the damage was already done. During the pause, audience members whispered among themselves as Kelly and Jenna exchanged heated words off camera. When they returned live, Kelly attempted to smooth things over, introducing the next topic. But Jenna interrupted yet again, pressing her about her parenting choices. That was the breaking point. Kelly slammed her cue cards on the desk and stood up. "You know what, Jenna? You came here as a guest, not as an interrogator," she declared. "And if you can't respect that, you don't belong on my stage." The audience erupted in gasps, some even clapping nervously at Kelly's boldness. Jenna, visibly flustered, tried to laugh it off and said, "Kelly, you're overreacting." But Kelly wasn't backing down. She gestured to the side stage where producers stood frozen. "Take her mic off." "I'm not playing this game," Kelly demanded. A crew member hesitated, but after a nod from the executive producer, Jenna's microphone was cut. The cameras stayed on Kelly as Jenna's face turned red with disbelief. She stood up, muttered something under her breath, and stormed toward the backstage exit, while audience members whispered loudly, phones already out to record the chaos. The clip of Jenna being kicked off went viral within minutes. Fans flooded social media with hashtags like #KellyOwnJenna and #RespectKelly. Many applauded Kelly for standing up for herself and her show, arguing that Jenna had been rude and unprofessional. Others debated whether Kelly had gone too far by publicly humiliating Jenna, but the majority opinion was clear. Kelly had done what most people wished they could: set a boundary and defend it unapologetically. On Today with Jenna and Friends. The following morning, Jenna briefly addressed the incident, calling it a misunderstanding that spiraled out of control. She attempted to laugh it off, but her co-hosts looked uncomfortable, and viewers weren't convinced. Social media users criticized her for failing to take accountability, with comments pouring in, "That wasn't a misunderstanding. Jenna, you were disrespectful." Others said her behavior revealed a pattern of using her platform to pry into people's private lives under the guise of journalism. Meanwhile, Kelly addressed the walk-off in her own way on her show. "Y'all know me love a good laugh. I love open conversations," she told her audience the next day. "But sometimes lines get crossed. I don't ever want my stage to be a place where someone feels attacked and I won't allow myself to feel that way either. That's not who I am, and that's not what this show is about. Her honesty earned thunderous applause from the audience and glowing praise across social media. Asterisk celebrities quickly took sides. Reba McEntire, Pink, and Dolly Parton publicly praised Kelly for standing strong, while Jenna's defenders were scarce. Rumors began swirling that NBC executives were concerned about Jenna's growing reputation as difficult and out of touch. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that this clash with Kelly might be the beginning of a bigger career. Setback for her asterisk by the end of the week. The incident had transformed into one of the biggest daytime talk show controversies in years. News outlets replayed the clip of Kelly telling Jenna, "This isn't today, this is my show," framing it as a defining moment in talk show history. Kelly emerged as a figure of strength and self-respect, her fan base rallying around her louder than ever. Jenna, however, carried the weight of being the guest who not only clashed with Kelly Clarkson, but got kicked off her stage, an image that threatened to follow her for years to come. In the days following the explosive clash, NBC executives found themselves in a storm they hadn't anticipated. Jenna Bush Hager was not only a co-host of Today with Jenna and Friends, but also a legacy figure tied to the Bush family name. The fallout from her being kicked off Kelly Clarkson's show became more complicated than just a daytime TV feud. Insiders reported that emergency meetings were held to discuss damage control, with some executives arguing that Jenna should issue a formal apology to Kelly to calm the situation. Others, however, feared that forcing an apology would look like an admission of guilt, further tarnishing Jenna's credibility. Meanwhile, ratings for the Kelly Clarkson show saw an immediate spike as clips of the incident trended across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Asterisk Kelly, for her part, remained calm. Amid the chaos, she refused to fan the flames publicly, choosing instead to let her one powerful statement stand. "This is my show." But behind the scenes, her team was thrilled with the surge of attention. Bookings skyrocketed, with guests reaching out to appear and sponsors praising Kelly for her authenticity and relatability. The incident, while stressful in the moment, had transformed her into a symbol of empowerment for daytime audiences who admired her ability to stand her ground without losing her composure. Fans began comparing her to Oprah and Ellen in their prime, calling her the new queen of talk TV. Asterisk, meanwhile, Jenna's reputation was unraveling. Social media users were relentless in dissecting her behavior, highlighting old clips where she had made similarly invasive comments to other guests. A trending thread titled, "Jenna's Shadiest Moments" gained millions of views, painting a pattern of disrespect that audiences had overlooked until now. Jenna was furious about the online criticism, venting to friends that Kelly had set her up. But those close to her warned that blaming Kelly would only make her look worse. NBC urged her to craft a softer public image, suggesting she show more humility on Today. Asterisk, as the media storm continued, other celebrities began weighing in. Kelly's longtime friend Blake Shelton tweeted, "Proud of @Kelly Clarkson for standing up for herself. That's why we all love her." Dolly Parton commented in an interview, "Kelly is just being Kelly, she's real, and that's why folks connect with her. Don't mess with real." On the other hand, very few defended Jenna, with only a handful of political figures and industry insiders quietly suggesting that Kelly may have been too harsh. But the overwhelming tide of public opinion was in Kelly's favor, and Jenna's silence only made her look guiltier. Under immense pressure, Jenna finally addressed the situation directly on Today with Jenna and Friends. With a carefully written statement in hand, she told viewers last week, "I had an exchange on Kelly Clarkson's show that did not reflect the warmth and respect I aim to bring to every conversation. I regret the way things unfolded and want to apologize to Kelly for any hurt caused. The apology was polite, but viewers weren't convinced. It felt scripted, overly polished, and lacking genuine emotion. Comments flooded in live, 'Too little, too late,' and you're only sorry because you got caught." Kelly's response was simple yet powerful. On her next show, she addressed the apology briefly, saying, "I appreciate her words and I accept them. But more than anything, I hope we all remember that kindness should always come first, especially when we're in the public eye." She didn't drag Jenna's name further, But the difference in tone between Kelly's sincerity and Jenna's calculated statement only deepened public sympathy for Kelly. By now, industry magazines were running cover stories about the confrontation, with headlines like Kelly Clarkson versus Jenna Bush Hager, the clash that shook daytime TV. Journalists noted that Kelly's authenticity had